Yesterday, Jeff Hafley had an interview, and I want to share a short excerpt from it. It's about 16 minutes, the total interview. I'm not showing you 16 minutes. I'm going to show you a few minutes clip here from the Jeff Hafley interview. And I said it last time I reacted to an excerpt from his previous interview. And he's honestly the most interesting guy to listen to talking in these press conferences because he goes into a ton of depth, explains things in a very understandable way, some of his concepts of defense and things like that. But I want to share this one clip where he basically goes into detail about why he allows the players' input to sort of factor into what they do and how he sort of goes about hearing what the players are saying, what they're thinking, and then basically deciding what to do with the defense after getting that information, which I thought was pretty interesting. So here it is from the Packers YouTube channel. Here is Jeff Hafley.
I was talking to Kenny earlier, a bunch of us were, and I'm intrigued by the idea of how much is a defensive coordinator willing to listen to his players and not just do whatever they want, but take their ideas, truly take them under advisement, consider whether or not they're worth including in game plans. And it sounds to me like that is a part of your approach that the guys really respect.
Yeah, but isn't that going back to everything I just said? Like to me, this is not about me. Like, I'm the defensive coordinator, I call the defense, but it's way bigger than me. Like, this is a player's game. We have a whole defensive staff. We have a whole support staff. Like, I'm not like, I don't think I have all the answers because I don't. And I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room because I'm not. And I've learned a lot from being a head coach and being a coordinator in the past. And if a really good player like Kenny, like if I go to him and say, hey, we're going to run such and such game on third down, and I want you to do this, and I want your aiming point to be this, and do you think you can succeed at a high level doing that? Like, let's practice it. And if he says to me, no, why would I run it? You know, that doesn't make sense to me. And then at the end of the week, I put up the third down inventory that we've run, and I look closely at what worked, and we try to get creative, and we're trying to build as we go. But it's, hey, what do you feel most comfortable running? Because if he feels comfortable, don't you think the success rate's going to be higher? And I'll say, is there any that you guys don't feel comfortable with? Tell me now. And we'll either practice it more or I won't run it. And what you're starting to see now, like even at practice today, there's this confidence and this energy. Like today was our best Thursday practice we've had. Like, and that's not coach speak, because I'm not going to BS you guys. It was. The energy was there. The execution was there. Guys are taking ownership because they're running stuff that they believe and they are good at, and they're getting confident in it, right?
Okay, so first off, I'm going to share a little bit in a second, but this reminds me back to the offseason. After Jeff Hafley was hired and we're all trying to figure out, sort of who he is and the way that he likes to operate his defense. And there was talk from LaFleur and then some players who had recently played for or had played for Hafley in the past. And the common theme seemed to be that he took complex things and made it in a way to where his players could play fast without having to think too much. And he brings up that point where he doesn't want to run things that the players aren't comfortable with. And that could be one big factor why so many previous players bring up the fact that, they're running things in a way where they don't have to think a ton, because if he's given them things that they understand, they don't have to think as much. And if there's things they don't understand, it sounds like he would rather find something else they're comfortable with than try to force something that he think could work if the guys don't think they can really do it in the way that maybe he wants it to be done. And so I think that's a big factor in players playing fast, because when you're comfortable with something, it's obviously going to work out a lot better, like he brought up. And let's finish the rest here.
And it's like I talk to X all the time. Like, even I'll get on the headsets and we'll have conversations, and it's, you feel this, can I show down here and do this? Yeah, if you got a good feeling to beat on it, yeah. Now, there's sometimes I have to say no, because it's like, whoa, that doesn't fit in with what we're doing, and we might give up a big play. So it's not just like, hey, what do we want to do? Go do it. It's like me listening, observing, and then making a final decision on what we can do best to win the football game.
I get it. I've done this long enough to know that not every coach does that.
Yeah,
You've coached long enough to know that not every coach does that.
I think it goes back to, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. We're a top 10 defense in scoring. Awesome. That means we're winning, right? It's not, well, look at that. I don't care. And I think that's why I'm in a good point in my career right now. And it's like the staff. Like, I'll give you a great example, because this is why I love our defensive staff. So Sean Duggan sits next to me in the booth, right? So it's me, him, and we're constantly going through the iPad. He sat next to me when I was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. He was with me at BC. We kind of like, he's starting to think alike, right? So he's looking through the pictures, and he looked at one set, and he's like, Coach, you see how far, I don't want to get too detailed. You see how far this guy's doing this? I think if we do this and this, we'll get him. So we quickly figured out how to get that done. We got it, and we sacked him on that play. Like, that was Sean Duggan coming up with that idea. Like, call him whatever position you want. And it wasn't like, no, I'm not running. No, it's like, yeah, that's a damn good idea. And it fits what we do. And we were able to figure out how to communicate to the players. And we got like a 7-yard loss on a sack for it. So, like, we're going to keep working together so we can win.
Okay, so this makes me like Jeff Hafley even more. I just think you can tell how much of a humble coach he is, giving credit to the players, giving credit to the coaching staff who works with him. And you see why, from what I've heard, it sounds like players respect him and what he's done, in the offseason and in here to start the season. And you see why when you give the players the input that they have, it makes it sound like to me that these guys are bought into Jeff Hafley and what he does. And I'd assume that, anytime that a defense and offense is bought into, the guy calling plays, I would assume that things operate at a much higher level, because you don't want to get to a point where players aren't really trusting the calls or trusting the coaching staff and things like that. And it sounds like Hafley does a good job of really relating with the players and sort of showing them that they do have some kind of say and some kind of input, which I think has helped this Packers defense. And then to, have people around you where he brings up there where, one of the coaches brought up a certain thing during game and it led to them being able to get a sack, and he's willing to take in other people's opinions. And I think that when you're the leader of the defensive unit, you don't want to take in every single opinion and do whatever everyone else always wants to do. And he brought up there where sometimes he'll have to say, okay, that's not going to fit in to what we're doing here. But it sounds like, and based on the way the Packers have played so far, he does a good job of sort of balancing, taking in input from everyone else, but then also still doing what he feels needs to be done as a team, and then only doing the things that his players feel comfortable with. So if there are any kind of defensive coordinator you to choose to play for, it sounds like Hafley would be, the kind of players coach that really values their opinion and things like that. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to production and how a guy does. And, if right now the Packers were the 30th ranked scoring defense, the way he operates would be like, is it really helping? Is it really working? But the fact that this defense is playing really well, leading the league in turnovers, 10th best scoring defense currently. What Jeff Hafley has done so far in Green Bay in the first, 7 weeks of a new scheme has been great. And I think we have seen them get better and better, holding C.J. Stroud to less than 100 yards. And I think that as the weeks go by, we're going to see this unit continue to evolve and get better and better operate this new scheme, because the longer you have with a new scheme, the better you're going to play. So if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.